Good morning, everybody. I hope you guys are staying safe and being healthy. So I already put up a recap of the compound interest and simple interest formulas. So I'm going to talk today about compound interest, the present value for compound interest. So if you're still struggling with the other two, please go watch the recap videos that I've posted with this one. Okay, so present value is really not a whole lot different from compound interest. So assume that you want to invest $1,000 today. And then at some point in the future, it turns into, let's say, I don't know, $1,500. It doesn't matter what the amount is, okay? This is our principal. Another word for it is our present value, okay? So you might see the letter P being used, you might see the letter PV being used. And then this $1,000 at some point in the future, it might be a couple of years, will turn into this final amount, right? We've been using the letter A for final amount, or you might even see the term future value. And those would be represented with FV, okay? So in the questions with regular compound interest, we know what the principal is, and we've been trying to figure out the future value. For present value questions, we know the future value, and we have to figure out what do I have to put away today in order to get that amount. So I'm going to look at the formula, and then we're going to look at a scenario on how to really calculate our present value. So let's look at our formula. We're going to start off with a compound interest formula. A equals P, 1 plus I to the N. Now, I'm going to show you some algebra here. You do not need to do this every single time. I am just showing you where the formula for present value comes from. Okay, so this is our compound interest formula. And if I'm looking at present value, I want to know this. This is what we don't know. So I've got to get this P by itself. I have to isolate for P, which means I need to bring this whole thing onto the other side. Because they are being multiplied, when I bring it onto the other side, I have to do the opposite of multiplying, which is dividing. So I'm going to divide both sides by this big bracket, and that will bring it onto the other side. So I'm going to have A divided by 1 plus I to the N equals P. Now, if you remember from grade 10, I know how much you guys love fractions. We don't want to keep it as a fraction. So we're going to make a single line. And if you remember from grade 10, negative exponents put things on the denominator of a fraction, right? Do you remember they take the reciprocals? So I'm going to bring this up top, but my exponent will become negative. So I'm going to have A times 1 plus I to the negative N, and that will still equal P. Okay, this is your formula for, let's get this all the way around. That's your formula essentially for present value. Now, we're going to make it a little bit nicer, okay? We're not going to use P, we're going to use PV. And some resources will put an FV for the A, others will just leave the A. I'm okay with just the A. We also don't tend to leave these on the right-hand side, we tend to write them on the left. So we're going to clean this formula up, and we're going to have your present value equals your final amount times 1 plus I to the negative N. And that is your formula for present value. Okay, so we're going to keep this memorized and visible while we work. Okay, all right, so let's go back. Why is this important? Well, you guys are, for the most part, in grade 11. So let's pretend in a few years you're going to be off to post-secondary. Maybe you're going to want to purchase a car, and you're going to find one for about $5,000. You think it would be nice to have $5,000 in those 3 years. Okay, so let's do an example. So you want to have $5,000. Your bank will give you an 8% interest rate, and they are going to compound it semi-annually. Semi-annually. Now, if you don't remember semi-annually, that is 2 times per year. Okay, so we want to have $5,000. Our bank will give us 8% compounded semi-annually, and we have 3 years to put it away. So this is going to be for 3 years. Okay. Just like your compound interest, when I'm calculating these, I like to figure out what all of my letters are, or all of my variables are first. So I'm going to write everything down. There's my PV, my A, my I, and my N. Okay. My present value, I don't know what I currently have. That's what I'm trying to figure out. What I do know is that in the future, I want to have $5,000. So my future amount or my future value or my total amount is going to be 5,000. My little I, remember we calculate I by taking your annual interest rate and dividing by the number of compounds per year. So I'm going to take 8% and divide by 2. Now remember, we don't write with the percent sign, so 8% is 0.08, and we're going to divide by 2. This should give us 0.04. For our n value, our n is the total number of compounds. So this will be the number of compounds per year times the number of years. So if you're going to invest your money twice a year for 3 years, 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, so I want to have $5,000 in 3 years, and I'm going to get 8% compounded semi-annually. So we've got all of our new little values. I'm going to take my new formula, my rearranged compound interest formula, and I'm going to substitute all of these in. So PV is going to be 5,000 times 1 plus 0.04 to the negative 6. Okay, remember, this exponent is negative. When you plug those in, just give me a second. Okay, you should get 5,000. It's around 0.7903. Usually I like to keep a few more decimals, so please in your work keep more than I did. I'm just trying to do this super fast. And then you should get 3951.5. We're dealing with money, so always put at least 2 decimals down. And that would be your answer. So if you wanted to have $5,000 in 3 years to buy yourself a car when you're at post-secondary, you need to invest $3,951 today. Okay, you need to invest it today to get the $5,000 in the future, assuming your bank gives you 8% compounded semi-annually. Okay, I hope that helps. Good luck. You're still welcome to email or try and contact me as best you can, and hopefully things go well. We'll see you guys soon. Bye.